Rain, rain, go away, come back another day. Ballarat made fortunes in the gold rush. Is this what investors are actually mining just down here? Hey, I'm Oliver, the value add buyers agent from Insight to Buyers Agency. We help investors unlock and manufacture equity with design-led strategies and data-backed market fundamentals. Welcome back to Worth It series, the series where we dig into Aussie suburbs and ask, is this place still striking gold, or are we just buying into the hype? Today we are in Ballarat, just 90 minutes drive from Melbourne. Here's the real question: is Ballarat still a smart play for investors, or are we chasing shiny houses with no substance like plated gold? Stick around because I've got the gold nuggets of population trends, crime data you probably didn't even expect, and a breakdown of Ballarat's market and where it's actually heading next. Welcome to Ballarat. Ballarat's not just a heritage town anymore. It's now home to an 8.3 billion economy growing faster than most of the regional Victoria. And if you're thinking about long-term capital growth or cash flow plays, these numbers deserve a closer look. Today's Ballarat economy is a diversified powerhouse, and that's what gives it resilience. We'll unpack golden nuggets of a booming healthcare and social assistance sector, strong pipelines in education, construction and public sector jobs, over 850 million a year in visitor spending, supporting nearly 3,000 tourism jobs, and a small but steady presence in agriculture and mining. Now, why does that matter for investors? Because when a city's economy isn't reliant on one sector, it means less volatility. Ballarat doesn't stall every time one industry dips. Instead, it holds up. Over 55% of locals work full-time, and we're seeing a rise in professional class people coming in, choosing to live, work and invest right in here. It means steady wages, consistent rental demand and a growing owner-occupier base. And with a local economy growing over 10% in just 1 year, more people are moving in for the jobs, for the lifestyle and for the long-term security. And that's a kind of macroeconomic trend we want to be backing our property decisions. Tourism is a massive part of Ballarat's economy and its identity. Every year, more than 2.4 million visitors come here. Think Sovereign Hills, the Art Gallery of Ballarat, the Botanical Gardens, and really the big events. And why does that matter for investors? Well, that's millions spent on short-term accommodation, dining, and visitor tourism experiences, which drives demand for short-stay rentals, Airbnbs, and hospitality workers needing homes. Tourism here isn't seasonal either. Ballarat's heritage streets, art scene, and growing cultural calendar keeps the foot traffic year-round. For the investors, it's proof that Ballarat isn't just a Melbourne commuter town, it's a destination in its own right. And that creates layers of housing demand most regional cities don't have. And speaking of who's here, let's zoom in on the people who actually call Ballarat home. But for sale, together with all buildings connected there with no reasonable offer refused. For further particulars, apply to the Market Square, Ballarat. Who knows?
Let's dive in.
Who actually lives here? The fastest growing group of young families moving from Melbourne for the bigger blocks and better value houses. But Ballarat also has an aging population, which is really driving the demand for the healthcare and the downsizes type of friendly properties. This means a mixture of opportunities at both ends. New housing estates for families and heritage, or low maintenance stock for the retirees or upcoming families. And here's a cliffhanger. This population mix links directly to the crime and housing appeal, which we'll get into next after having a meal here. So where do Ballarat locals work? Right behind me. Ballarat's workforce is about 55% full-time with a medium household income of about $1,465 per week, higher than the average across regional Victoria. Healthcare and social assistance is a standout, employing 1.2 times more people than regional average. And when you pair that with strong education and government jobs, you're looking at stable, high occupancy housing demand. In short, these aren't seasonal or boom bust jobs. They're sticky, long-term roles that support both rental demand and buyer activity. Unemployment sits steady at 4.8%, under the long-term average, and job opportunities is still about 50% higher than pre-pandemic. Now, what about future forecasts? 9,500 new jobs by about 2027 and over 35,000 jobs by 2034. But good jobs don't automatically mean that new investment returns are going to turn back into Ballarat. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, crime. In 2024, Ballarat saw 10,000 criminal incidents, up 16.3% year on year. Family violence rose 33% and sexual offences jumped 280%, the third highest in Victoria. That sounds scary, but here's a perspective. So property crime rates like theft are actually lower than the national average. What does that mean for investors? It's about being selective. Heritage family homes and family estates in stable pockets will still perform, but pick the wrong streets and you could be exposed to a little bit of a greater risk.
Hey there, how are we doing, you two?
So what's it like living here?
Yeah, it's great fun.
Good.
Have you been here before?
Ages ago.
Yeah.
Back when we were probably kids.
When you were kids?
Yeah.
And we're about the second biggest outdoor museum in the world, and we usually regarded in the top 2.
It's a fantastic museum.
It's
though.
great fun.
You don't see that everywhere.
No.
Yeah.
So yes, so the sword is a real heavy battle saber, and the gun I'll be firing at 3 o'clock is a real gun. The rifles you saw fired by the redcoats are accurate for a kilometre.
Oh wow. And how's the crime rate here? Pretty orderly?
They weren't really here to protect the citizenry. They really simply enforced the licensing laws. The Eureka Stockade happened, which was our own little rebellion against that, and 22 miners died. What happened after that? Democracy was born in a way. They got a legislative council, and these fellas, the troopers, were replaced by the Victorian Town Police.
And there you are, Victorian Town Police, or trying to be.
No. Most of these were let go because they were somewhat corrupt. But yeah, I better go and take the station.
Beautiful.
Enjoy your day, you guys. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Let's talk people power, because population drives demand. Ballarat's population today sits at about 120,000, and here's the kicker. It's been growing steadily at 1.7 to 2.3% per year over the last 7 years. Why? A lot of it is migration. Melbourne's family chasing affordability, plus overseas arrivals since the borders has reopened. And by 2036, Ballarat is tipped to hit 145,000 residents. That's like adding another mini city. Imagine the pressure that puts on housing stock in the next decade. Population growth means nothing if a city can't keep up. So what's happening on the ground? Let's unpack this next. The Ballarat line has had and is having major upgrades, and the station right here has had a facelift to improve commutes to Melbourne. Before the upgrades, the line was notoriously known for delays, and now it's a little bit more reliable. The peak hour services, meaning more people can actually live here and commute to Melbourne on a daily basis. And investors know that connectivity is everything. It brings more weekend visitors, boosting Ballarat's tourism economy. Every major infrastructure reports and shows that suburbs tied to improved transport corridors see stronger capital growth over time. Let me show you how a government office building can quietly shift the long-term investment story for an entire city. We're talking about the Ballarat GovHub, a $47 million project that has been fully operational since 2021. And if you're eyeing Ballarat as a regional play, you'll want to understand what this means for future growth. GovHubs are a newer model of decentralizing government services, essentially bringing public sector jobs into the regional centre. Ballarat GovHub is now home to about 1,000 government workers, with 600 of those relocated from Melbourne. It's smack bang in the CBD, tied into the Civic Hall precinct, and designed by famous John Wardle architects to activate the area and not just provide their space. Why this moves the dial for investors? Let's break it down. Ballarat's population is growing. The forecast says it needs another 16,000 jobs over the next 15 years to keep up with demand. The GovHub is a direct, tangible step towards hitting that target. It's not just jobs, it's a vote of confidence from the government that Ballarat is a long-term hub. And what do these jobs do? They increase rental demand, especially for professionals wanting to live near the CBD. They attract private sector investment into the surrounding areas, and they really do boost business confidence, which leads to more local employment. We've already seen the ripple effects in nearby cafes, co-working spaces, and the hospitality sector. Plus, these aren't temporary construction jobs, they're permanent roles, often held by people moving from metro to regional lifestyle. So if you're investing in Ballarat, especially in inner pockets around the CBD, this changes your play. You're not just banking on affordability or that spillover from Melbourne. You're now investing in a city with a growing professional working class, a government backed by the employment anchor, and a growing demand for quality and well-located housing. So in plain terms, buy and hold properties near the CBD now have stronger fundamentals, and by adding value, by improving layout, or targeting multi-occupant tenants, there's room to grow equity and push that yield a little bit above the standard average in Ballarat. Ballarat-based hospital, Victoria's largest regional hospital, is currently being redeveloped. It already has about 785 beds and 4,000 staff, and St John of God adds another 200-ish beds. This redevelopment isn't just bricks and mortar, it's future-proofing Ballarat to keep pace with the population growth. We're seeing an increase in specialist services, which is attracting professionals from Melbourne and interstate. Healthcare is a recession-proof industry. No matter what happens to the market, demand for hospital doesn't drop. So this means steady rental demand from nurses, doctors, and allied health staff living close to the hospital. For investors, suburbs within a 5 to 10 minute drive of the hospital often sees an above average rental yield. Ballarat has one of the highest school to population ratios in regional Victoria. That's a magnet for families moving here. They know education is covered at every stage. Its prestigious private schools are a major draw card. Look at Clarendon College, leading the region with a top-tier NAPLAN and VCE results. Ballarat Grammar offers similar academic weight and prestige. Loreto College, St Patrick's also carry strong reputations. These schools attract high-income families and drive demand in nearby suburbs, making them key to Ballarat's long-term investment appeal and local owner-occupier demand. Universities also create a steady flow of renters, especially for international students. It's why areas like School of Nursing and Midwifery campus are close to the ACU often have consistent rental demand year after year. Think about it, students need housing now, and the graduates often stay on for work, so the demand compounds over time. So Ballarat's not just pretty. It's a regional city with a gold rush history. It's got serious economic muscle, population growth, infrastructure momentum, and tourism depth. But as we've seen, this isn't a one-size-fits-all investment market. Some suburbs are riding that structural tailwind and picking up. Others, not so much. And with diversity of a housing appeal varying street by street, due diligence is more critical than ever. In part 2, I'm going to go deeper. We'll talk vacancy rate, rental yields, supply pipelines, and the suburbs investors should keep a very close eye on or avoid altogether if you could. If you found this helpful, drop a comment or hit a follow, and of course hit that notification bell so that I can catch you in part 2.